It's Mike Brennan, and we're doing another segment of MITechTV. Bernard Swiecki, did I get it right?
Correct, Swicky. Like
Swiecki.
whiskey, but different sequence of
Yeah,
letters.
it's a tongue twister there. And
Yes.
anyway, he's with GEM, which is part of the Detroit Regional Partnership. And what we're going to be talking about with him is some new economic activity aimed at helping small to medium-sized manufacturers, startup, and economic development agencies. Why don't we pick it up from there and explain in detail what I just said much clearer, though?
Yeah, of course. So our work is as part of GEM, the Global Epicenter of Mobility. We're funded by the U.S. Economic Development Administration, which is a part of the Department of Commerce. And so there are 6 pillars, 24 different nonprofit entities working on those pillars, and they range the sort of the full value chain of what companies need, everything from helping entrepreneurs and startups get going, all the way through talent and training, providing access to testing facilities and helping existing companies transition to new technologies. Training needs, even finding a site that has been verified to have all the correct characteristics that they're looking for.
All right, so tell us a little bit about this new initiative that was announced last week. I happened to pick up a news release on it. It's called the Road to 2030. What is that initiative?
Correct. So the Road to 2030 is our outreach of the research efforts of GEM. And it's really focused around looking at the next mobility technologies that present the Detroit region with the greatest opportunity for growth and for future investment and employment growth. And they really deal with the full gamut of technologies and mobility sectors. So we're looking not just at automotive or the medium and heavy duty segments that this region has traditionally been strong in. We're also looking at aviation, maritime, off-highway, even drones.
Hmm. Okay. So what will you be doing to help small and mid-sized companies get started in these industries?
Well, first and foremost, Matt, it starts with information. And so as a start, we've partnered with S&P Global Mobility to complete what we call the Future Mobility Technology Study. And all this can be found on the website, The Road to 2030, here on the GEM online presence. And so the idea is first and foremost, get them the information that they need to know which technologies are going to be growing at which rates, in which of these mobility sectors, so that they know where the opportunities lie.
One of the things, speaking as an entrepreneur, that I think that we really still lack in this state is funding for small operations. It's so tough. I mean, you can only work the friends and family so much before they treat you like you're an insurance salesman and run the other direction. So, and for instance, I'm just using this as an example. I'm starting up a software as a service company. Just developing the software, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm sorry, I don't have that in my bank account. And I hear this from a lot of other entrepreneurs. It doesn't have to be that much money, but just even getting 50 or $100,000 is next to impossible until you really have something moving forward. I mean, when you're still in the concept stage, and that's where all these startups are. How do you solve that problem?
Yeah, and Mike, you're not alone. It's a theme that we hear quite often, and the good news is we are moving in the right direction. The more of this activity that takes place in the Detroit region, the more we are on the radar of different entities that do provide this kind of funding. Now, in a direct way, GEM itself does not provide angel investor funding or direct operational costs. But what we do is, keep in mind, we're talking $52 million from the federal government and more matching grants that take the full program to over $70 million over 4 years. And so what happens as a result of that is these technologies receive many of these services for free by working as part of GEM, as part of these initiatives that we have. And so essentially, the fundraising that they do then can go, more directly into some of these operational costs that they do need to feed into. But we can help them with, a lot of the entrepreneurial work, a lot of the access to laboratories and so on, can be done with the help of GEM, and that then frees up capital for other purposes.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit. I know the announcement said that there were 7 distinct sectors that you're looking at. Tell us a little bit about how those were selected and what the first one's going to be.
Yeah, of course. So, what we did as part of that research, first and foremost, we did a robust vetting process for which of these technologies that are on the radar right now deserve a deep dive analysis. And so we started with over 40 of them, narrowed that list down to about a dozen that had the greatest opportunity. And then we did a series of what we called convenings with the entities that are the gem pillars, with regional government entities, DRP, investors. And then finally, kind of a checkpoint with automakers and suppliers and other mobility providers to vent that the 7 technologies that we ultimately did select are in fact the ones that we should be looking at. So after that entire process, we came up with 7 of the greatest high potential technologies, and then the team at S&P did a real deep dive into every one of those technologies, and those technologies are now being released as one-off modules. Every few weeks, we're adding one new module to that Road to 2030 website.
What are the 7 technologies?
All right, let's see if I could remember them from the top of my head. But they are 2 that we knew we had to do because they're just so integral to everything that's happening, which is electric vehicle propulsion batteries and also electric motors. Those are just a given. You have to have them included regardless of which mobility sector it is that you're looking at. In addition to that, we looked at hydrogen fuel cell systems, and hydrogen is the first module that we released as a part of that Road to 2030 website. Then we do have thermal systems for these battery electric vehicles. Power electronics, power management is another one. We've also got 2 technologies that are not necessarily directly on the vehicle in a physical kind of way. One is a grouping of software technology, so it's not all software. In this case, we're looking specifically at software-defined vehicles, cybersecurity, and over-the-air update capability. And then finally, we call it assembly automation, but it's a larger universe of the things that we think of as Industry 4.0. And that itself has a software component as well as a lot of hardware, including imaging, radar, LiDAR, well, not necessarily LiDAR, but a lot of sensors and imaging equipment that's used in manufacturing as well. And then frankly, a lot of these technologies, they apply not just to automotive, but to all these other mobility sectors that we're looking at that I mentioned earlier. But when you think about it, topics like AI, cybersecurity, that's not just all mobility sectors, that's got applications economy-wide.
Yeah, that would be my next question is I get 600 emails a day, and I'll bet at least a couple times a day, if not more, I get some company announcing, we have AI now. And I didn't hear AI in your list, and I was wondering about that. So,
Mhm. Yes, AI is integrated in some of the software that we're looking at. We don't have it broken out as a specific component, but absolutely, you're not really working towards self-driving vehicles or a lot of this assembly automation technology, cybersecurity, without integrating AI both into the product, but also into the processes of how you developed and engineer that product as well.
yeah.
So I almost hate to have to bring this up, but we are in the situation we are in. That this is funded by Economic Development Administration federal grant. Is that grant in any kind of risk? Do you have enough money to follow through on all these ideas, regardless of what happens to the federal budget?
Yes, that grant was part of a previous Build Back Better Regional Challenge funding effort. And so we've been working with the EDA to make sure that we're fully up to speed and compliant. So we have every expectation of completing the work into 2027 as planned.
Okay.
Okay. Any final questions, Matt?
No, I was just a little curious about how basically what's going to be going on next in this. Are there meetings? Are there sessions? Or is this just simply at this point information availability?
So Matt, it's all of the above. So as you know, that Road to 2030 website is going to be kept, as a living document every few months, every few weeks. we're going to be adding new modules to it to add, information about each technology. In addition to that, we're already working on the updates. So, we know these forecasts change all the time, economic conditions change all the time, government policy, incentives, tariffs, all of that changes. And so we understand the need to keep this as a permanent. We are working on those updates as we speak. And then, of course, we are continuously working with regional stakeholders, be it economic development, industry support. But we've done a roadshow. We're meeting with those entities, sharing these results to basically have a cohesive Detroit region strategy for how to capitalize on this, because it presents a tremendous opportunity to build on what we are in automotive. We are the automotive capital of the world. We could be that to all these other mobility sectors. And as they electrify, as they automate, these avenues are much more open than they traditionally, historically have been. And so this is a time of opportunity. And we're looking to provide everyone in this region that needs information what they need to capitalize on that opportunity.